Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to take an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the refreshed 2016 GMC Terrain Denali. As always, this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Terrain. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take it on a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. A big thanks and shout out to Loot Crate for providing this video ad-free. They recently sent me a couple of their new mystery monthly pet crates for my dog Veyron, including a bunch of goodies and treats. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video where I show you what all is inside and how you can get more information if this is something you'd be interested in for your pet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up and let her run. Remote start also comes standard. This example is finished in Crimson Red Tint Coat, which is a new color option for 2016. Inside, you'll find a unique combination of light titanium perforated leather with black accented across the seats, doors, dash, and center console. All Terrains feature rack and pinion steering, but the forms of power assistance differ between engines. With the standard 4-cylinder, the steering uses electric power assistance for greater efficiency, while the V6 continues to use the traditional hydraulic-assisted unit. In our V6 tester, the steering ratio is 17.4 to 1 and it takes 2.8 turns to lock. The turning diameter is a relatively wide 42.6 feet with the optional 19-inch wheels. It's all routed through a 4-spoke steering wheel with grip bolsters at 10 and 2. The Denali's wheel is wrapped in premium leather with unique wood tone accented at the top and badging on the airbag cover. Satin silver trim highlights the spokes, while your multifunction controls can be found in the upper two. The steering doesn't offer a lot of road feel, but it's very easy to navigate and has a nice weighty feel to it. The Terrain delivers power to either the front or all 4 wheels through a 6-speed automatic transmission with electronic range select, offering smooth, leisurely performance. Range select is engaged by pulling the console shifter back into M and using the rocker switch on top of the leather-wrapped shift knob. This allows you to lock the transmission out of certain gears, say when towing or traveling down a steep hill. For example, selecting 3rd gear will tell the transmission to shift only between the first 3 gears. A backup camera is standard on the Denali along with adaptive guidance lines and rear parking sensors. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic projector headlamps. Halogens are standard, there are no HID options. Hazards are in the center stack. All 4 windows are automatic down only, with the front 2 featuring acoustic laminated glass. So let's go ahead and check out the exterior, shall we, and see what's new for 2016. Based upon the 2nd generation Chevrolet Equinox, the GMC Terrain has been competing in the crossover market since 2010. It shouldn't come as a surprise to know that together they've been some of the highest selling vehicles in their segment. When they were first introduced, they offered a lot of interior space, comfort, features, and refined road behaviors that made them excellent options to consider. This still holds somewhat true today, as the original formula hasn't changed much over the years, which may or may not be a good thing depending on what you're looking for in a crossover. They're mechanical twins underneath with distinctly different outward appearances. The GMC though is positioned as the more premium offering. Of course, there's been a number of updates over time, including the addition of the range-topping Denali and a more powerful V6 option for 2013. This, among other tweaks, has helped the Terrain remain fairly competitive in a segment that has rapidly grown and evolved, especially in the last few years. When looking at the competition, including but not limited to the Hyundai Tucson, Ford Escape, Honda CR-V, and the Jeep Cherokee, you can definitely tell the Terrain is starting to show its age. Still, it offers pleasing aesthetics for those who appreciate a tougher look to go along with relatively tidy dimensions and a wealth of interior space. The drawback really lies in what you get with the price. When it first came out, it was class-leading in what it offered, but being that it's still based on an older platform, it simply isn't offered with a lot of the newer tech that's available nowadays, such as LED tail lamps, LED or even HID headlamps, a sparky entry system, or push-button ignition. I would expect all of those modern goodies to be added with the next generation, though. For 2016, the Terrain received some subtle changes that mainly pertain to styling, wheel options, interior colors, and expanded safety equipment options for lower trim levels. Things like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning, and forward collision warning that were all once exclusive to the Denali. The front and rear fascias are new, sporting C-shaped lower chrome trim on higher-end models to accentuate the Terrain's wide stance while surrounding the newly available LED daytime running lights. Higher spec models also receive revised chrome accented grills, including the new Denali exclusive tri-segment grille. The Terrain is offered in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive with your choice of the standard 4-cylinder engine or a potent 3.6-liter V6. We'll talk about performance more in just a bit. Unlike the Equinox, the Terrain takes on more of a rugged look with sharp edges, chunky fender arches, and an upright stance. I've always preferred this look over the Equinox. To distinguish it from an SLT, the Denali features a number of unique interior and exterior appointments to give it a much more upscale look that fits in well with the rest of GMC's Denali line. Along with exclusive wheel options, other additions include different headlamps and tail lamps, satin chrome trim, body-colored fascias and rocker moldings, and additional chrome trim across the rockers. Out back, there's a full-width Denali skid plate with integrated exhaust outlets. 4-cylinder models have a single-exit exhaust, while V6s have the dual setup. Currently, the Terrain is available in 5 trim levels: SL, SLE1, SLE2, SLT, and Denali. Depending on how you spec it, the Terrain can get pricey when you consider some of the newer, more well-equipped competitors, so it's well worth comparing to see which vehicle works best for you and your personality. Pricing begins at just under $25,000 for the base SL, but it swells to $35,725 for the Denali. Our tester has pretty much all of the additional options you can tack on and stickers for $41,315, including destination. The Terrain can be had with a variety of wheel styles and sizes depending on the trim level. 17-inch wheels are standard on the entry model, but the Denali features exclusive 18 or 19-inch wheels based on which engine you go for. In order to get the 19-inch wheels, as shown here, you have to order the V6. The wheels themselves are $400 and the engine is $1,500, so it's a net change of $1,900. As we'll discuss in just a bit, if you're already going to be spending Denali prices, you might as well go ahead and get the V6 regardless. You really appreciate the added power that comes with it. The wheels are also quite good looking as well. A 6 split spoke design with a flush center cap to hide the lug nuts, a nice finishing touch. Here, 235/55 all-season tires can be found at each corner. With this setup, the Terrain Denali is able to hold a little over 0.8 G of lateral acceleration. As far as the brakes, 4-wheel internally ventilated discs come standard and are able to bring the vehicle to a stop from 60 miles an hour in about 125 feet. They measure 12.6 inches in diameter in front and 11.9 inches in the rear. Supporting the Terrain is a fully independent suspension with McPherson struts in front and a multi-link rear, in addition to coil springs at each corner and front and rear stabilizer bars. Giving the Denali an extra degree of ride comfort over other Terrains are exclusive dual-flow dampers, which are said to improve handling by controlling suspension damping across a broader range of driving conditions. I thought it exhibited excellent road manners. It's not that agile, nor is it very sporty, but it felt planted and comfortable, notably more refined than other Terrains and Equinoxes I've driven over the years. By soaking up a greater degree of imperfections, it makes for a more relaxing vehicle to take on longer trips. Overall length is 185.3 inches with a width of 72.8 inches and a height of 66.3 inches. Wheelbase is 112.5 inches, while curb weight for our Denali all-wheel drive tester is around 4,204 pounds. The Terrain is available with 2 all-aluminum engine options, a 2.4-liter inline 4-cylinder or a 3.6-liter V6. They both feature dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, variable valve timing, and direct fuel injection. The 4-cylinder develops 182 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque, and makes up the standard power plant for all Terrains. For greater performance, though, the V6 option is the definitive choice. It develops a healthy 301 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 272 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. The V6's compression ratio is rated at 11.5 to 1. This translates to a 0 to 60 time of 6.3 seconds. Top speed is limited to 118 miles an hour. Power and performance felt more than enough for this class. Even though the engine doesn't develop the majority of its grunt until higher RPMs, it still felt strong and always ready to go. In normal driving and cruising around, it exhibits smooth and quiet behavior. By far the biggest downside to the V6 though is fuel economy. It can take regular fuel, but it has a rating of 16 miles to a gallon in the city and 23 on the highway for all-wheel drive models. All-wheel drive 4-cylinder models achieve 20 miles to a gallon in the city and 29 on the highway. Of course, front-wheel drive models still retain better fuel economy numbers, if only slightly. Tank capacity also varies between 18 and 20 gallons depending on whether you opt for the 4-cylinder or the V6 respectively. The Terrain's interior styling and overall layout continues unchanged for 2016 with a few subtle updates thrown in. These include revised graphics for the infotainment system, new color options including the light titanium theme you see on this example, and a revised center stack design. The interior doesn't differ all that much from an Equinox. The most noticeable alteration is the dash, featuring a modified center section that's especially noticeable with two-tone colors along with different outer air vents. Other than that, the Terrain offers more when it comes to nicer looking finishes and features in higher trim levels, including the red ambient illumination that you see in our tester. When the Terrain first came out for 2010, the build quality was right on par and perhaps even superior to many of its competitors. It's by no means perfect, but the layout still looks pretty cool in person. Visibility is also quite good all the way around, and I like the tall seating position. However, with a massive influx of newer, more modern alternatives in the last few years, the competition has become fierce when it comes to spending between $35,000 and $40,000. That being said, for 2016 standards, the Terrain's overall fit and finish and quality of materials leaves a little to be desired. I'm speaking more from the Denali's perspective and price point, as even though you get exclusive stitched material for the dash and leather door inserts, there's still a significant amount of harder plastics used in the majority of the touch points. Again, it's all relative as the design is 6 years old now, so it's definitely worth comparing, but at the end it really boils down to personal preference. The Denali comes with 8-way power front seats with 2-way adjustable lumbar and 2-person memory for the driver's seat. The lumbar is a nice touch and there's some decent upper and lower lateral support. They're pretty comfortable overall. Adjustable headrests and seatbelts are standard along with a tilting telescoping steering wheel. If price wasn't so much a factor, the Denali certainly carries a premium look inside and out. It's $4,000 more than an SLT and introduces a wealth of unique additions. Contrast stitching can be found throughout the cabin along with a soft touch and stitched instrument panel, a premium leather-wrapped steering wheel, embossed logos on the front seat backs, smoked mahogany faux wood trim accents, illuminated front sill plates, and more. For 2016, the CD player was removed in favor of a small storage tray in the center stack. It'll fit something similar in size to an iPhone, but it wouldn't be particularly useful when it comes to larger phones like an iPhone 6 Plus. I just assumed to have the CD player back as you'd still have some decent storage ahead of the shifter, in addition to the console storage. The latter is actually where you can find your media integration ports. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds, both sitting still and on the road. Now let's go ahead and shut her up and check out some of the interior features. The Denali comes standard with a premium 8-speaker Pioneer audio system with separate amplifier and trunk-mounted subwoofer. It's all routed through the GMC IntelliLink infotainment system, a 7-inch color touchscreen display located in the top of the dash. This is a little bit of an older system compared to the newer systems on the market, like in the new trucks and SUVs, but it still offers a lot of functionality and smartphone integration. Up top you have your side curtain airbags, padded visors. There's also illuminated vanity mirrors. In the middle is an auto-dimming rearview mirror with your OnStar controls beneath. Up in the top stack you have your interior illumination and reading lamps to either side, 3-position garage home link, controls for your fully automatic sunroof as well as the vent feature and your power liftgate out back. Your Bluetooth microphone is located right there. So let me give you a quick run through of the GMC IntelliLink system right quick. Of course, you can control everything from the touchscreen up top. There's a hood right above it to prevent sun from glaring in from outside, but you can also control it via this little rotary wheel right here. Go between the different menus up top and down below. Adds a little bit of extra functionality to it because, like I said earlier, the ergonomics aren't fantastic in the way that, at least with my 5'10" frame, I have to kind of stretch a little bit. And if you're going down the road and fishing underneath this and stuff, it might be a little bit easier just to use this rotary wheel, but it really depends on how long your arms are. The redundant controls down below, you have your radio power and volume knob to the left. There's preset stations, bringing up your favorites, changing the source, seek, track, rewind, fast forward, all that good stuff. Going between destination, navigation, home menu, back, configuration like various vehicle settings, as well as your hands-free telephone controls. Right above the infotainment system is a little display that shows your collision alert system when it's activated and you're going down the road. So, continuing down the center stack, right beneath the radio and media, you have a single-zone electronic automatic climate control system. Fan speed to the left, temperature to the right, front and rear defrost, recycling, different zones, not to mention 3-stage heat seats for both the driver and passenger. Whenever you make an adjustment, it also shows up within the infotainment system. Right beneath that is your driver information system that shows up in the digital display in between the instrument cluster. There's 2 menus, trip and option. Within option you can select your units, tire pressure monitoring system, remaining oil life, or just have everything blank. In the trip computer though, average vehicle speed, timer, navigation, again blank, digital speed readout, trip computer, and fuel data. Down at the bottom, good sized storage with an extra 12-volt power outlet, 2 cup holders, chrome ringed, your stability control, and open up the large padded center console and you can remove this little tray for a pretty big well. It's illuminated, has USB, auxiliary integration, and an extra 12-volt power outlet. As far as the steering wheel, on the right-hand side, you have your radio and media controls, hands-free telephone, and voice commands.
Please say a command.
Help.
What do you need help with? Please say radio, phone, my media, navigation, or settings. For OnStar speech commands, say OnStar. For help with other commands, say other commands. If you need to exit the session, say goodbye.
To the left is your cruise control, your collision alert system where you can set the distance between the car in front of you to alert you basically. And your lane departure warning. Intermittent wipers to the right, including a rear wiper, and your lighting and turn signals to the left. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and shut her down. And check out the overall backseat space and amenities. If you don't want a full-size SUV, but you still want to have the added practicality of having a big back seat to haul family and friends, the Terrain is well worth considering, and probably the Equinox too. I was surprised by how much space there was back here. I mean, I'm 5'10", and with a comfortable seating position for myself in front, I have well over half a foot of leg space and maybe 3.5–4 inches of head space. The back seat is also quite comfortable. There's a lot of padding all the way around, good lower back support, and a surprising amount of lateral support across the bottom and the top, so you kind of stay gripped in there pretty well. In the middle, there's a large armrest, locks in place, fully padded, and has 2 cup holders. You can seat up to 5 people in the Terrain, just like the Equinox. As far as the overall room in the middle right here, if you have 3 full-size adults, it's definitely doable. Depending on the size of those adults, you might be fighting for shoulder space across the side, but headroom is also quite good right here. Maybe about ½ inch to an inch less than the outer portions, but that's almost negligible unless you're well over 6 feet. Also, the drivetrain hump is almost non-existent. I mean, you can spread your feet out a little bit if you want to, but you don't have to. And even if you do, you're not going to impede on the outer people's leg space by any means because there's a ton of it. Also, the console kicks in right here, so you have a little bit more flexibility right there if you wanted to stick your feet there if necessary. There's a 12-volt power outlet in the bottom right there. The only thing that you don't have right here is an adjustable or any form of third headrest, which would be nice for extra support, but I guess you do have better visibility without it. The outer headrests are adjustable. Another thing that I wish, and we talked about this a bit up front, for the price, I think there needs to be more soft touch material and premium elements in this vehicle. It still feels very economy in some places, especially across the door panels. You have a lot of harder plastic material. There's not as much soft material back here as there is up front. You have some soft, like rubberized portion across the armrest right here, but it's not as nice as what you would find in the front. The only appreciable amount of soft stitched material is the slender strip across the door panel. Even still though, you have the nicer elements, the chrome door handles, the faux wood. There's still a lot of storage across the door panel. I mean, it's a practical vehicle. You have storage nets on the back of the seats, grip handles up top, coat hooks, reading lamps, and side curtain airbags. All in all, I really like this vehicle. I mean, you can haul a lot of people in it. It's comfortable, it's roomy, nice looking appointments on the seats and stuff. It's just a good looking package overall. So let's go and check out cargo space out back. The Terrain is available with a powered and programmable liftgate. It comes standard on the Denali and can be operated from either the key fob, a button on the liftgate itself, or an interior button in the top stack like I showed you earlier, adjacent to the sunroof controls. Inside, there's 4 cargo tie-downs, a 12-volt power outlet, and a removable privacy cover. Behind the rear seat, you have a generous 31.6 cubic feet of cargo space. You're also able to fold them nearly flat to effectively double the carrying capacity to 63.9 cubic feet. Underneath the trunk floor is a temporary spare tire. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Like I said, Loot Crate has been generous enough to provide us with 2 of their new Loot Pet crates. It's actually a really neat concept, and it all goes to a good cause, as each of these monthly subscriptions, a portion of it actually goes to like local and national like pet charities and everything. So that's really cool. But I wanted to give you a quick look inside the contents of the packaging so you can see the type of items and stuff that it comes with, and give you a bit more information if this is something that you'd be interested in doing with your pet. So the idea behind Loot Crate and Loot Pets is that it's a monthly based mystery service, basically. You never know what you're going to get in these boxes. It could be toys, little trinkets, treats, little clothing items. I mean, it's really neat, and it kind of has an element of surprise to it because all you get is basically just this black rectangular box with little paw prints on it and stuff. So you open it up and you see this month's theme with this cool artwork and stuff, and you're like, ooh, what did I get this month? So it's definitely pretty neat. But for example, like the Invasion, which was the January theme, there's a little rubber frisbee, a shirt, a big bag of treats, and of course the little magazine that comes with every one of them. Next month's theme is actually Dead, so like surrounding The Walking Dead, the Deadpool movie and all of that, so that should be really interesting. But I was part of like the initial batch as well, so I actually got this box back in December, and when you open it up, again, it's kind of space theme. It says Loot Control right there, and there's some different stuff inside. Different treats, there's a leash, a ceramic pet bowl, and one thing that I think is pretty cool, they had this little gold collar tag that came with it. It's a small rocket ship that says Founding Pet. I just think that's the coolest thing, like just the little thoughts that matter the most, I guess. I hope this little overview has been helpful for everyone. If you order by the 19th of this month, you'll be sure to get next month's theme, which like I talked about is Dead, with like Walking Dead, Deadpool, and all that good stuff. If you go to lootcrate.com/SobKyle and type in the promo code Kyle, you'll also get a 10% discount. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2016 GMC Terrain Denali. Be sure to stay tuned next time, as always a lot more where that came from. Take care guys.